Hello everyone, my name is Paul Third, and this week I'm not doing marvellously well. I have been kidnapped by a plugin developer. I am not at liberty to say who. All I can say is they did eventually get me. I've been trapped in this cupboard for 16 days. All the stuff about me being like ill and stuff has all been a facade. For some reason, they left me my phone and a laptop. So instead of like calling for help, I decided to make a plugin review instead. So even though I have been kidnapped, and really the door's over there and I could just escape, I've decided to make this plugin review for you anyway. And hopefully, after you've got through this first bit, you might see me again.
Hello everyone. You have all been asking for the new Neve noiseash collection, and here it is. There are console EQs of the 1073, 1081, 1084 and also another Neve EQ, but it is a Rupert Neve EQ. I've not really looked into that much. Now these feature tolerance modelling similar to that of Lindell and Brainworks TMT, so it gives you a difference in left and right and just differences in linear frequency response, as well as some very non-linear behaviour, which includes frequency changes just by changing the dials without any gain changes at all. This is apparent in all three I tried, which was the 1073, 1081 and 1084, and it's something that I've not seen done many times. I'm pretty sure somebody said to me that UAD have done it a few times, but either way I contacted noiseash and they state that it is intentional in all the plugins, as it is the tolerances they found in each unit. Me and a few other engineers are pretty sceptical, as it's not subtle, especially in the 1073. I can't say for sure if it is correct, and I'm a bit unsure whether to kind of put my name to it. So I've decided to focus on the actual character of the units, which I can do, as noiseash have released a separate plugin which comes in the form of the Pre-Trilogy. Now I love the idea of this, as I like being able to add character of the most popular Neve pre's and compare via one plugin instance. Now as you can see in the 1081, it has the least amount of low roll-off and slightly but widely boosts the lows, and especially in the mid-range, and dips the highs slightly and rolls off around the 17k mark. And in terms of the harmonics, it kind of follows the same pattern, but with the biggest harmonic energy being around the 200 to 500 hertz mark. It definitely has the most lows and low mids out of the three pre's, and in terms of an audible difference, I would definitely say that it sims the darkest out of the three pre's. Now, in regards to how it sounds in the context of the drums, for me, it just takes like the high click out of the kick, and it kind of focuses more of the energy kind of in the lows a little bit more. It kind of gives the kick a little bit more of a low end foundation. A lot of the times I wouldn't normally like that kind of high end roll off and kind of to lose the click, but for me in this specific kick drum, it works quite well. It sounded the best. And yes, I thought it sounded pretty good in solo and in the context of the drums. Now, in regards to the 1084, this has a gentle roll-off in the lows, but it is a lot more of a roll-off than in the 1081. It has a wide kind of low mid boost and it dips around 3K. And for some reason, now I say for some reason because you'll hear it yourself, it doesn't sound as dark to my ears, because as you can see, it does have much more of a high-end roll-off than the 1081. It probably is looking as maybe as low as 8K. In regards to the harmonics, it's pretty similar to the 1081, but a little less focused in the low mids, and high order harmonics extend a little higher where the 1081 steeply rolls off the high order harmonics.
Okay, so I did manage to escape. However, I needed a toilet before I left. They're not even that bothered. They're just like, Paul, when are you fucking, when are you leaving? I was like, well, when I'm done. I'll speak quickly about how that kind of overhead sounded in solo. So for me, in solo, the 1084 adds this really nice openness and this kind of like mid-grit and a little bit more width to the overhead. Overall, it's adding a little bit more energy, but will that energy come through in the context of the rest of the drums? So that was the overheads. Let's hear how the 1084 sounds cranked a little bit harder. Now this is the hardest that I've pushed any of the pre's in this session. So this is it on bass. 1084, let's hear in solo how this thing sounds.
Hey Steve, see you later mate, boys, yeah good in, yeah good in.
By the way, Steve, see the next time you plan on kidnapping somebody, fucking get a better motor, eh? Fucking X-Reg Volvo. Fucking unbelievable. Fucking believable. Right, okay, my wife has now officially intervened because she is done with me recording around the house and she has stopped finding it funny. So let's just do the rest of it just with me and you, okay? I'm back in my humble abode, everybody is safe. So let's move on to the 1073, which is the last of the pre-trilogy. In regards to the 1073, it's definitely the flattest of the bunch in regards to linear frequency response. In terms of its like high pass filter and its kind of low roll off, it kind of sits in the middle, and the harmonics is pretty much the 1081 with a little bump in high order harmonics. Right, okay, so in solo, I feel that the 1073 adds some warmth and body to the acoustic guitar and also some mid-grit to the electric guitar, whilst adding a little bit of top-end sparkle overall. And really overall, I just feel that it adds more energy to the guitars. Let's hear how that sounds in the context of the mix with the reverb and delays. Right, okay, so we've looked at acoustic and electric guitars. Let's try it on a vocal, which in my opinion is probably the most common use for a 1073 that you'll find in modern day productions. So 1073, I've got it on quite a low setting because I don't want to overly saturate the vocals. So let's see what it does to a vocal.
Wake up and drop that suit. Strip down and face your naked truth. Wake up and drop that suit. Strip down and face your naked truth. Wake up and drop that suit. Strip down and face your naked truth. Wake up and drop that suit. Strip down and face your naked truth. Wake up and drop that suit. Strip down and face your naked truth. Wake up and drop that suit. Strip down and face your naked truth. Wake up and drop that suit. Strip down and face your naked truth. Wake up and drop that suit. Strip down and face your naked truth.
And before we go to the final comparison, where I'll show you the mix with all the instances and without all the instances of the pre, I'll mention one last thing to you, which is very, very important. In terms of the sound of the pre's, what you do need to be aware of is that there is some, well, I say some, but quite a lot of compression in the 1081 and the 1073. As you can see, it compresses quite a bit. It is quite a slow slope, but it is a little bit more in the 1073, and the 1081 and 1073 do compress quite a bit. Whereas with the 1084, it compresses a lot less than the other two and allows more transients and peaks through, which kind of makes a little bit more sense to me, probably why I preferred it more on the overheads and the slide guitar and also the bass guitar as well. So it's just something to make you aware of, that a lot of the times with hardware gear and pre's, the more you hit them harder, the more kind of natural compression will start to come in and it will start to round off those peaks, which in these pre's, they do. To finish the video, what I'll do is I'll let you hear a final comparison, which is the full mix without all the instances and with all the instances. And as always, guys, let me know in the comments down below what you think of what you've heard in this review. And hopefully I will see you all again next week on Mixing Wednesdays.
Wake up and drop that suit. Strip down and face your naked truth. Wake up and drop